can't remember breaking the door open. Ugh. Now I can see that I look as bad as I feel. Photos of my ma and pa. They can't help me anymore either. And what have we got here? A pair of pliers. I don't need them right now. A piece of glass. That ought to do it. Ow! Nothing. Not a single letter. Stop. Here. Here's something. Oh, no, it's just Mordred's dumbass summoning formula. All that for nothing. But I have to do something. I can't just let Mordred win. I'd rather be dead than a centuries-old murderer. My father, he's already trodden this path. It might be the simplest way, but it's also the most effective. Without me, there is no Mordred. My death will be his as well. I've got no other choice. Gordon's centuries-old family, cursed right down to the very last descendant. I am him. The story of the Gordons ends with me.
No! Mr. Gordon! Adrian, don't do it!
Go away!
Calm down, Adrian. You can't do that. There is another way.
What do you know?
More than you think. I can help you beat the curse. Trust me, please. Come down here. Please!
Who sent you and why?
My employer is the Vatican. Have you ever heard of the apostolic visitation? We're mainly concerned with supernatural phenomena, what are commonly known as miracles.
The Vatican. There I was thinking it couldn't get much worse, and the church comes knocking at the door.
I was sent here because we had been informed that Black Mirror Castle had burned down. It was apparently just a routine measure. I was to sort out legal matters and release the funds for the Gordons to rebuild the castle. But then I found out that Victoria Gordon was on her deathbed, and that Angelina was nowhere to be found. My task then became to secure the Gordons' inheritance and to minimize the effects of the curse as best I could.
The effects of the curse? Gordon's inheritance?
Adrian, your eyes.
Yeah, I know. They're black. What do you know about the curse of the Gordon?
Mordred wanted immortality and power. He somehow anchored his soul in the mirror, but he was caught during a ritual by his brother. Shortly before his death, he cursed Marcus's descendants to collect souls, in order that he could be called back into life. And it would seem it worked, judging by your eyes.
Collect souls? You mean kill people?
Yes.
You're wrong. I haven't killed anyone, and still Mordred lives in me.
As far as I can gather, your twin sister, Angelina, did that for you. We got it all wrong. Angelina was originally supposed to take over the Guardian role. We didn't know anything about you. We thought the last male Gordon committed suicide 12 years ago.
What do you mean, guardian role? You mean to guard these portals, right?
That is the Gordon's inheritance. The Guardians are people of pure heart who were chosen by the church a long time ago to guard the Black Mirror.
The Black Mirror?
Yes, a great mirror, which also serves as an ancient portal and lies deep beneath the castle. Marcus Gordon took over this duty and passed it on to his children.
But how should a Gordon stay pure of heart if they're all destined to murder?
Your family has produced more Guardians than it has murderers. Only Marcus's descendants are in a position to resist the Black Mirror. We still don't know why. However, we don't have any time now to research the exact reason for this, and then find an alternative Guardian from outside the Gordon family.
So, I'm definitely your last hope then. How do you know all this?
From the Vatican archives, and also from this book, which I found in the library. It's the Book of the Guardians.
There are no longer any Guardians of pure heart here, just Mordred.
Adrian, right from birth, you were destined to become a Guardian. Without Angelina, Mordred's curse would never have passed over to you. Victoria would never have wanted nor permitted you to kill yourself. Do you want to simply ignore her final wishes? Adrian, if you're going to kill yourself, everything could only get worse. If there were no longer any Guardians, then the Black Mirror would be open to all. The mirror would enslave the weak and bring Mordred back into the world of the living. And the Black Mirror will be unprotected. Victoria would have never allowed you to commit suicide. Are you going to simply ignore Victoria's last will?
All right then. I'll give you one chance. Did I understand that correctly? I'm the last Gordon of Marcus's lineage, and therefore also the last Guardian? But I can't guard the portal because a cursed part of me, the Mordred heart, wants to open the portal. And if I kill myself, the portal can be opened because there are no more Guardians.
Something like that. Yes.
So, what do you suggest?
An exorcism. The church.
An exorcism?
It's an ancient ritual. Long before there were Christians, ghosts and demons were being cast out of people. It works. You only have to believe in it, Adrian.
I'm possessed by the devil. Don't talk to me about belief. Okay, I'll do it.
Thank you. And now let's go to the church. We should complete the exorcism before night.
So, how does a person get to work for the Vatican?
Later.
Holy Mother in Heaven!
Yeah, a good day to you too, Father.
Prioress Antolini, welcome back. You've arrived at just the right time.
Now do you see why I was in such a hurry?
Miss Antolini has had an idea about how to solve my problem.
Yes, I've been informed. The Archbishop has told me about it himself.
5 minutes later, and you would have had to inform Mark as well.
Father, have you ever performed an exorcism?
I've been the priest for the whole manor of Black Mirror for years. Everyone here has been baptized by me, and my words accompany them to the grave, too. I've taken the confessions of murderers, and I...
Father, have you or haven't you?
No, not in practice. But I do have the theoretical knowledge, of course.
Oh, great. I'm the guinea pig.
Adrian, I've been trained for something like this. I've studied the Rituale Romanum several times. And if Prioress Antolini thinks it's the best option, then I agree with her. After all, she is, well,
I've already told Adrian who I work for, but I'm afraid we don't have time to discuss this for hours on end.
good. Then let's begin the preparations.
Okay, and what can I do?
We need information, so the more we know about the demon, the better.
We already have his name, so we can address him. Do you know any more about him?
What would be important?
It would be good to know how he sinned. And a personal item. Something that anchors him in this world.
Then I'll get searching.
But be quick. I'll prepare everything with the priest.
Good day, sir.
Edward, I completely forgotten about him. Hi, Edward. I didn't expect you so soon.
If it's inconvenient, I could come back another time.
Why are you here again?
You said I should come by during the course of the day, about an eventual position as a butler.
Oh, yes. Excuse me, Edward. As you see, I don't really have time just now, and...
Perhaps I can help you.
Actually, there is something. It would be great if you could deliver this letter to Inspector Spooner. Tell him I found it while tidying up the greenhouse.
Of course, sir.
You're not gonna tell anyone else about it? The thing with my eyes, I mean?
Most certainly not, sir. Discretion is the most important virtue of a butler.
Good man. In other circumstances, he'd be the perfect new Bates. He's down here. All on his own. Strange. Didn't Victoria say he was married? And even had a kid? Why aren't they on here? Maybe this was the book that Victoria meant as she was dying. She said that everything was in the book. Damn it, Valentina. I was never able to find it like that. I don't have the time to read everything, but at first glance, it looks like it's just full of stories about the White Lady. It even tells here about how she died. In the final duel with my brother, she threw herself between us to stop the bloodshed, but he was no longer the brother I once knew. The evil had corrupted him too much. How great must this power have been to make him forget all of the battles in which we had fought together side by side? How incessantly overpowering must the evil be to make him forget just how much he had loved his wife Maria. His blade pierced her heart and snapped as though it were made from glass. That was also the end of my brother. But then with his final breath, he cursed me and all my descendants. I killed my brother. I will never be able to forgive myself for that. His final resting place will be in our chapel. May God have mercy on his soul. That must be a transcript from Marcus's writings. The letter is from a scribe of Pope Innocent III. It contains instructions for further procedure in terms of the incident with Mordred. Letter from the Holy Father Pope Innocent III to the faithful follower Lord Marcus Gordon, Duke of Blackmere. Esteemed Lord Marcus Gordon, I am writing in great anguish concerning the developments in the case of Mordred. My instructions regarding further modi operandi are to be carried out immediately as follows. Firstly, I demand the utmost secrecy and the sealing of all entrances to the ritual room. Furthermore, an academy will be established to conduct more thorough research into the possibilities for the 5 small portals. Concerning the large portal, all records and documentation are to be sent to the Vatican immediately, as the very foundations of Christendom would be shaken should its existence become generally known. Any talk, thoughts, or writings regarding the Shade Portal shall be deemed an act of heresy and shall be punished in accordance with the rules of the Fourth Lateran Council. Therefore, until the papal revocation to decree otherwise, the Gordons are henceforth responsible for ensuring that no one comes too close to the Shade Portal. With great faith in you and unending trust in God, I send you my apostolic blessing. From the Vatican, 29 Septembris 1213, on the feast day of the Holy Archangel Michael, Innocent III, formed from the earth, conceived in sin, born to be punished. Should man commit an evil act that is forbidden, a shameful act that ill behooves him, a vain act that is of no use, he shall in the end become fuel for the fire, food for the worms, and a heap of putrefaction. De miseria conditionis humanae, on the misery of the human condition. Hello, Madame Fortuna.
Adrian, I knew you would call again.
Who else could it be?
Pick a card.
Stop.
I'll draw the Hierophant for you.
Hero, huh?
The Hierophant. He is also called the Shaman, the Pope, or the High Priest, Adrian. You will receive the assistance of a higher power.
The only question being, which one?
And I see death.
I'm not surprised.
Oh, one moment. Now, what has the tower lost here then? Now I've gone and dropped all my cards. Just a minute, Adrian.
Could that maybe mean now that I'm gonna fall from a high tower?
No. How do you come to have a silly idea like that? Ah, now then. I can see it clearly. Death will touch you. Or also, maybe not.
Okay, that's enough. Thanks. Even if the pages are blank, maybe the book will be useful for the exorcism. Who knows? It did once belong to Mordred, after all. There's a rope dangling right in front of the window. Or is it a noose? Better take it, I guess. Photos of my ma and pa. They can't help me anymore either. And what have we got here? A pair of pliers. I don't need them right now. These mattresses look as if generations of Gordons have died on them. I'm not touching them. I have discovered Durgam's secret. If you look out there, you might think it's deepest winter. Or has that more to do with the chill here in the room? This is Victoria's jewelry. Rings, necklaces, and earrings. What are these marks? It looks like mildew. Ugh, not that healthy. A massive block of stone with a secret compartment, but there's nothing in it. I had already discovered it before the castle fire. Ugh, it's as gloomy here as in Mordred's poor soul. I'm not going any further. Don't reckon this hole's got much more to offer. Empty letterbox. First it was on the tree, and now it's on the ground. That's what you call the fall. I can't show up in the village with black eyes. I'd probably end up getting lynched by an angry mob with... And if I'm gonna play the Guardian, I ought to stay alive for as long as I can. I definitely won't find anything to do with Mordred then.
Ah, Adrian, there you
are. Father Frederick?
My son?
Mordred's wife was called Maria.
Ah, that's good to know. Those are worldly, familial things. I'm sure we can address Mordred with that, particularly if he loved her.
Well, he murdered her with a sword.
Oh, that's excellent. For our purposes, I mean. Is that all you have found out?
I found a book that belonged to Mordred, but all the pages are blank.
How do you know it belonged to him, then?
It's from his grave.
We can divert his attention from you with it. You'd better give that to me. Now we have enough information.
Okay, so what happens now?
Just lie down here and trust in Jesus, our Lord. Miss Antolini, are you recording?
This is the exorcism of Adrian Gordon. Present are Father Frederick, pastor of the Church of Wormhill, as conducting exorcist, and as witness and doctor, Prioress Valentina Antolini.
It has begun. Let us pray.
In nomine
Patris,
Patris,
et Filii, et Spiritus Sancti.
Amen.
Amen. Most glorious Prince of the heavenly armies, Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in our battle against principalities and powers, against the rulers of this world of darkness, against the spirits of wickedness in the high places. Come to the assistance of men whom God has created to his likeness, and whom he has redeemed at a great price from the tyranny of the devil. We know your name, demon, you that calls itself Mordred. Release Adrian, I command you in the name of our Lord.
Stoop down, impure spirit.
Mordred, you who made yourself guilty during life and therefore remain guilty in death and beyond, go to the hell in which you belong. Go into purgatory, where you should burn sinner for all your deeds.
Behold the cross of the Lord.
Mordred, you who has raised the weapon against your brother Marcus, you who murdered your wife with a blade of your sword, Maria, whose soul has found no peace since then.
Behold the cross of the Lord.
Guilty you are, Mordred, and guilty you will always be. Bow beneath the all-powerful hand of God. Release Adrian and go there where you can receive the vengeance of God.
Father Frederick.
I saw him. He spoke to me. It's the wrong place. There's nowhere for him to go here. from this world.
Oh, Father. Adrian! Adrian, wake up! Thank you again for helping me bring Adrian to the castle.
But of course, miss. Is there anything else I can do for you?
No, not at the moment.
Then I'll come over again tomorrow. Have a nice day.
See you. As long as Adrian's still asleep, I should let the Archbishop know about the current state of affairs. The Gordon file from the Vatican Archives. The last entry is from 1923. It notes the handing over of the guardian position to Victoria Gordon. Right at the front of the file is a copy of a letter from Marcus Gordon. In it, he says that the entrance to the Shade Portal is sealed with an altar. The underground chapel was consecrated and prevents the Shades from entering the catacombs. The Bible gave me much strength when I needed it. I think everyone should read it at least once. Matches. They're from a cafe in London where I met the Archbishop a few days ago. It's for an emergency, in case... Yeah, well, Mordred attacks me. I let the dictaphone run during the exorcism. I can't understand a word, even though I understand quite a few languages. But that must be a very, very old one. There's only English literature here. Shakespeare, etc. I've already read them all. Mainly lexicons and biographies about British lords. I found a book about the Guardians here. A mighty pillar. The wooden cladding is decorated with carvings. Your Grace, this is Prior Santolini. There were complications. The exorcism failed. No, I don't think that was the reason. Yes. Yes, but that only makes sense if the demon is unknown. Correct, Your Grace. We underestimated his strength. Father Frederick is dead. He was thrown across the room, and Okay. No. The Guardian is doing well, considering the circumstances. Yes, Your Grace. I understand. I also think that the location is crucial. The Guardian had an image of Pictish glyphs with him, the same as those engraved on the Shade Portal. That's exactly where the demon must be forced back. Yes, into the Black Mirror. It'll be no problem to get there. The demon itself tries to force its way to the mirror. It's drawn to it like a magnet. He won't cause us any problems until then. On the contrary, Guardian and demon will be hard to keep apart. Yes, that's the other side of the coin. But, Your Grace, the man is probably the only one who can fulfill this task. Yes. Is there an alternative to exorcism? Of course, I'll do that. All right then. First, I have to find the entrance to the catacombs under the castle. A chapel is mentioned in the records, which is found down there. That's where I guess the Black Mirror is. Yes. Yes. Thank you, Your Grace. Thank you. Good. As long as Adrian is still asleep, I can start looking for a way in. Most secret passageways in old walls have the characteristic of not being sealed completely airtight. That could help me. The Gordon family tree. Many of the guardians were women. Isabella, Emily, Rosa, but also Marcus Gordon, Albert, and Durham. There are records on them in the Vatican Library. When I first came here, this room wasn't being used. I've had everything that's still usable brought into here. Paintings tell a lot about the period in which they were painted. Fortunately, these ones weren't too badly damaged by the fire. Adrian is still asleep. I'll leave him in peace. Lady Victoria was always very vigilant when I was in the room. I hardly had the chance to have a look around. Well, she'd understand now. The image of a beautiful woman. I'm thinking that must be Maria. I completely forgot about the machines. As soon as all of this is over, I'll have them picked up. Just a minute. There's a syringe here with adrenaline in it. I'll take it with me just in case of an emergency. Victoria's dressing room. The only area in this room I could have a look at. But in vain, though. There really are only clothes here. Those are all things that were close to Victoria's heart. But there's nothing of interest to me there, though. Even though she was really ill in her final days, she still set great store in keeping a well-groomed appearance. There's only jewelry in here. 2 necklaces, a pair of earrings, and rings. It's all silver and stylish. Huh. The jewelry case weighs at least 5 kilos. And what is that? There's some kind of flap on the underside. But how do I open it? I can't see any keyhole or anything like that. I'll show it to Adrian as soon as he's awake. Perhaps he knows something about it. Victoria's jewelry casket. There's a kind of secret compartment on the bottom side, but I can't open it. Greg was going to repair the grandfather clock, but he never got around to it. A statue of the Virgin Mary. She was venerated for her humility and her firm belief in God. I didn't even like horses when I was a little girl. I prefer small animals. A plain marble pedestal. I almost like it more than the sculpture on it. Black mold. According to Greg, it was caused by the extinguishing water, which offers an excellent breeding ground for molds once it's soaked into the walls. There are only Victoria's papers here. Bank statements, bills, and so on. They're of no use. I once saw such a huge globe in the museum in Moscow. It was also made of metal. I remember that Australia was only half depicted on it, because they hadn't yet mapped it out completely when they made it. The entrance to the catacombs used to be under the foundation stone, but Marcus had it sealed off. Now it's only a cellar down there. The wonderful cutlery didn't survive the fire very well. I've stored the remains in boxes upstairs. I was almost killed by a ceiling beam during the first inspection with the workmen. That's why there are supports in here. The source of the fire was here in the kitchen. The room up there was the butler's room, I think.